Hi, I'm Stacey Hyde and I'm back for another episode of Better Financial Health in 15 minutes or less. And today I'd like to talk about credit cards, particularly credit card balances and applying for different credit cards, having credit, that sort of thing. Credit cards are a part of life. Many places have gone to a no cash policy, so you have to have some form of credit cards. Some people still use a debit card and not a credit card. I would tell you be careful of that. While debit cards do come out of your bank account and you don't run the risk of overspending, if you use a debit card and there's fraud, they've taken the money out of your account. And yes, if it's a Visa card, you can file and you can get it back and there's some protections there. But in the short term, the money's gone. And so I would encourage you to have a credit card to use anytime someone is taking your card out of your sight. You know, a lot of restaurants now, they bring the card readers to the table and you can do that so your card never leaves. Also, if you can use contactless payment, meaning that you just tap instead of inserting your card, that's safer. They're not going to be able to duplicate your card from, since you're not inserting it into a reader that way. So it just can help you prevent fraud since there is so much. Personally, one of the things that I do to try to reduce the incidence of fraud is if I'm buying from a website that I don't normally use, I will use my PayPal account and still pay with my credit card. That way I have an extra layer between me and them because I don't know what this online thing that I'm buying, I don't know what their information security and their technology and cybersecurity policies are, and it just kind of gives me one more layer of protection from that. So I think that can be helpful as well. One of the things that kind of causes me some concern is I'll ask people about their credit card debt and they'll tell me, well, yeah, I have 10 or 12 or 15 or some, what I consider a large amount of credit card debt, but it's at zero interest, so I'm not worried about it. Well, yes, you're not digging a bigger hole with interest, but those are promo rates, and over time, if you're not careful, those are going to run out. And I also think with interest rates being higher, we're seeing the period of those offered be shorter, and as the economy gets a little more stressed, the credit card issuers are looking at those a lot harder. So I think that's going to be harder and harder to roll over and find new 0% interest. So I think you should really take advantage of the window that you have and really aggressively try to pay those off. The other thing that's often surprising to me is people have a $5,000 or $6,000 credit card balance, but they have $10,000 in a savings account that's earning, you know, most of the time less than 1%, occasionally 4.25%, but their credit card balances have a 28% interest rate. I'm like, pay that off. And they're like, well, then I won't have my cash. I was like, yes, but you've restored your credit, which is actually going to help your credit score. And then instead of making those credit card payments each month, pay yourself back into your savings account to let that build. The only caveat to that is don't let that savings get below $1,000 because that is when something would happen. But you really want to be careful with credit card balances right now. You also don't want to have a whole lot of credit cards. Yes, you can get discounts if you get a store credit card, but usually those are the ones that we forget that we have, and we're not used to paying it every month, and so we put something on it and it gets lost in the mail, and then we get this ding on our credit report for being late and we're like, I didn't even know it was there. So I'm not a big fan of those. I think you should have like 2 primary credit cards, maybe a Visa and a Discover, or a Visa and a MasterCard, or an American Express and a Visa. But I think that having those lets you use your credit wherever you are, whether you're traveling. If you're going to travel internationally, you definitely want one that is going to waive foreign transaction fees. If you travel a lot, I know my daughter loves her credit card. It's a travel card, and it has saved them a lot of money on flights and hotels. And so you really want to pair that together. You know, Discover gives you cash back. So you really want to look at what it is and what the programs that are going to help you the most, and then really take advantage of them. A lot of credit cards now allow you to monitor your credit for free. They give you your FICO credit score. Keep an eye on that. That's sort of the canary in the coal mine if something has happened. There's been quite a few data breaches lately. I know I was notified that I was part of the AT&T one. So you really want to be very careful and keep a close eye on your credit report. If you get those notices and they send you the option to monitor your credit, particularly the Experian one, I've had personal experience with that. That's a very good one, and it locks it. You can lock down all your credit reports, and they will notify you if it pops up that you were part of a breach, which is always good to know, so you can be extra vigilant. And so there is a lot out there. Credit cards can be great. Just be careful. And one of the things that I've recommended when people are trying to build their credit, and maybe they have a credit card that's got a pretty low balance, is paying that credit card off each week. That keeps your credit utilization down, which will increase your credit score. And you also don't want to another reason not to do those store cards is all those credit inquiries can push down your credit score as well. So you want to be real judicious with that on how you're using your credit. So credit cards can be good, certainly safer in my opinion than a debit card. I'm not a fan of debit cards. I use mine to get cash only. It's also can be, if you're traveling, a good way to convert cash. You can use your debit card at an ATM in another country, get out cash, and many times those exchange rates are better than what you could get somewhere else, you know, at an airport or something like that. So something to keep in mind, but definitely stay on top of it. If you're going to be traveling, let your credit card company know so that they don't think that there's been fraud and turn your credit card off while you're traveling. That can be a little of a rude awakening and cause you all sorts of issues. But be careful with credit, use it wisely, make sure you're maximizing any benefits from your credit cards, and stay vigilant. Thanks for tuning in. This has been another episode of Better Financial Health in 15 minutes or less.